Good evening, everyone. Hopefully everyone can hear me okay and we're coming through nice and clearly. We're back to question time. Hopefully everyone's doing okay. And sorry, it's been a while. It's been a couple of weeks since we've done a question time. So I'm glad to be back here answering your questions. All things game dev related and all things Unreal Engine. Since that time, yesterday, Unreal Engine released Unreal Engine 5.4. We actually have the project open in Unreal 5.4. So if anyone wants me to mess about with it, I can do. I'm still learning a lot of what's in there, so bear with me. I'm still finding stuff out, but I can offer some bits of feedback here and there to help with this. So yeah, we're all good to go, I think, over here. Thanks for the Ecto One. Yeah, the Ecto One over there. So the office got, if you haven't seen the office studio, whatever, it's been updated. We've now got double desks here, more shelves over here in front of me. Obviously the background, we basically flipped the whole office around. So now we've got these soundproof wooden slats, Lego shelves and units. We've also got like this cabinet full of board games. Yeah, it's all cool stuff. So yeah, I've been looking around at some of the things in Unreal Engine 5.4, and you haven't watched my video that I released today as well about whether or not you should upgrade on Unreal 5.4. As usual, the answer is it depends. If you're deep in production already in a project and your game doesn't need any of the features in Unreal 5.4, you're good to go. However, there is a little caveat to that. If you're doing something with the animation tools, you can by all means use the animation tools because they're more advanced in 5.4, and always export it out as FBX and bring it into an older version if you want. Someone said they do that, and I've done that before because the retargeter was better in Unreal 5 point whatever it was, and I made it work for whatever game I was doing at the time. So yeah, worth checking out. So yeah, if you don't know how this works, let's answer some questions. All you do is put questions in the chat and we'll try and answer as many questions as we can. If I don't get to your question, don't worry, just put it into chat again. I'll try and catch it next time round, and off we go. Let's jump in. So Animator Alex, to follow up on my latest don't update to 5.4, is there any reason not to update if you're starting a fresh project? Not at all, you can feel free to. Just bear in mind that the fresh versions that come out, especially the newer features, may still have a few bugs in them. There's a bug that I've encountered in the preview, which I'm going to check now actually, to see if it still exists in the release, because there's a bug with the modular control rig that I discovered. But if you want to start your project, sure, why not? Thank you, Rain. I hope I'm pronouncing that name correctly. Jason, is it possible to have a Niagara effect, i.e. smoke, impact the perception vision? No. But what you can do is you can, wherever you spawn the smoke, for example, you also spawn like invisible like sphere or grid. So say like if you're inside this grid, you're not visible. You do something like that. Yeah. M Gaming Studios. Good afternoon, Mr. Lee. Can you do an ability system where you can click a UI button to trigger a count animation or buff and have a cooldown UI? Oh, I missed it. Overlapping the button, disable it until then. So we can't do the full system in here, but I've done videos on this sort of stuff before. But I'm happy to show you a condensed version of this. So let's just do a quick HUD here, and in here we're going to have also another widget. We like to split things up. We want to split things up, make them more modular, make it more flexible for ourselves. So we got action button. So the way these action buttons work is that it needs a button, so you can detect clicked events. You don't need to have a button with a clicked event, but it does give you the option with like automatic stuff It saves you a bit of hassle. But on there, we're going to have an image, which we'll put there. And we'll wrap that, sorry, with an overlay. Because what you want is the image and the progress bar to be on top of the image. So do like, we'll do design on screen. Actually, we'll do custom on screen here. Yeah, leave it at 100. Let me just change all the stylistic padding to 0, 0. And stretch that out. Stretch that out. And get rid of that padding there too. Okay. So let's bring in an image to use. Hold on, I've got an image I can use. Let me go get it. Let's go for... Oh, I need a content drawer, would help. Okay, so I've got this image here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a material out of it. And we'll make that material a UI material. There we go. And hit apply. And done. Next, we're going to go back to our action button. And the image here is going to be... actually, do we need the image? We could just use... No. Well, we actually don't need the image. We could just do it with a progress bar. I think. Let me have a look. So if we make this full size, stretch across the whole entire thing, we're going to change it to fill from top to bottom. Nope, bottom to top is what we want. Okay, so you get the progress bar like this. Then we're going to change the background image and fill image. So the background image, we're going to choose that material we just made. Yeah. And the fill image is also going to be the same. Like that. The image size here, we're going to set to 100, 100. And I'm going to draw as an image. Okay. And draw that as an image, 100 by 100. And that is an image there too. Okay. Now the difference is that the background image we're going to leave normal, but the fill image will change to be tinted. So this could be like tinting it with a grey, for example. And if I increase the percentage here, you'll see that we can do this sort of effect on it. So like when it's cooling down, it'd be like this. Yeah. But obviously you can tint it whatever you like. Or you can just make a variation of the material. Again, whatever you like. Even like alpha. If you're going to put an alpha in, though, do make sure that you plug in the opacity to be translucent. So, like, have it like this, for example. It fades down, sort of like that. Yeah. And then if you want to make it so it's disabled whilst you are doing this thing, you've got two ways you can do it. You can either disable the button completely. So when you disable the button, it actually enables... Well, disables? When you disable the button, it actually turns on this effect here, which will tint it. You just want that to be left as white. And you want the disabled foreground here to be left as white as well. Is that right? Yeah. So if you were to disable this, where are we? It shouldn't look any different. Okay. If you want to make it look different, you can do, but you don't need to. So all you do on here is when we click on the button, so on clicked here, we'll take to do the effect, blah, blah, blah. Let's give us a timer. Eventually you'll get a timer out of it. So for argument's sake, because I'm not going to do the whole system because we don't have time for that. Set timer by event and custom event cooldown, and we'll say 10 seconds like that. And this return value will promote to a variable because you need that timer. So this would be what you get from the ability system, is the timer coming from it. And then in the cooldown, you just tell the button here to be enabled. So just do enabled. Set as enabled. And then we're going to copy that and put that on this one as well. So when we click it, we disable it. Like that. So for those that amount of time, it's all good. Now, what we're going to do on here is also on the tick, because we want it to be lerping nice and smoothly, is take the timer out, you check if it's valid, and whilst it's valid in the tick, we're going to take the timer's remaining time and elapsed time, and we're going to get time remaining. No. Yeah, time remaining. Yeah, time remaining. Normalized to range. And the range max would be both of these combined. So it's the total of the timer. So if you don't have access to it, because this will normally be in the ability system, not on the widget, you just add these two together, plug it into range max, and it'll give you a normalized value between 0 and 1, which you need because progress bars go between 0 and 1. So you need that. So then we just take the progress bar and set %. Ooh, like that. And essentially that's it. Okay, so it's going to, when I click on it, it's going to disable the button and do the other junk over here, like spawn the ability, blah, blah, blah. And then after 10 seconds, it will re-enable it back on. And then that'll make the click work again. But whilst it is got that timer on, it's going to do the cooldown via the progress bar and display it like this. So when all the time is remaining, the progress bar is going to look like that. And then as time goes down, it's going to refresh itself like that. Okay. So I've done videos on it in the past, so feel free just to look at what we've done there in the past. Oh, I've lost all the things. But yeah. Okay, next question. Let's go over to the chat and have a look. Yeah, we can go over some questions in Discord, yeah. A couple of questions we've got in Discord are from the Patreon. So if you're a Patreon member, you can ask a question ahead of time in the Discord channel. So if you can't make these things live, you can watch it back later for the answer. So Iron Thumbs is asking in the Discord channel, hey Ryan, is there a way to lerp between two curves? I have a weapon with a damage range of 10 to 25, for example, and a stat called Mastery. I'm trying to make the Mastery stat control how likely it is to roll a higher damage value from the weapon damage range. Interesting. Okay, so I mean, lerping between two curves is yes, you can do that. You just need to evaluate both curves and then lerp between those two values. So let's go to my player character, and then on here we'll just do like a like you have a lerp, for example, and then you're going to have a curve, float. Probably have to get the curve first, don't I? Yeah. So you have the two variables. You have your curve, normal damage. I mean, I'm guessing this is what you meant. And we'll do another one. Curve, high damage, for example. And oh wait, no. I think I know what you mean. I think I know what you mean. So you mean, so it's not lerping between two curves. What you want to do is yeah, like yeah, you have the second one over here. So your mastery stat, you can make this be the multiplier of it, and how the mastery curve works. So let's say your mastery curve means that the higher the number, the increase in the multiplier of damage, or the higher it's going to pick from that normalized range. But say the range, okay, so the range is 10 to 25. So we're going to do random float in range 10 to 25. And then you can always just add on to this and clamp it back. Ooh, not clamp axis. Clamp float between 10 and 25. And this could be added on the mastery stat, which you can get from the curve if you want. So if your curve is, if you're determined to use a curve for the stats, let's say that's our mastery stat, whatever. Like that, for example. You can just bring that in here. So I didn't save it, did I? There you go. Get value, add that on. So if the value is going to be like 10, then you'll add 10 on it and it becomes 20. You'll get the higher values. I mean, that'll probably be the easiest way of doing what you're trying to do. I think that's what you're trying to say. So yeah. Next question. AOG, why don't you just use the image? Why make a material? The material gives you far many more options to do, and also it's better to scale in. It like scales differently in UMG, so best to, if you can, make it a material. It's not a big deal, but I've noticed that scaling, also using it as a box or border, also looks better with a material than a texture. Are you going to upload a third part of Combat Camera on Patreon anytime soon? I've been waiting for that for months. Yeah, GDC kind of took over life a little bit. It's on the list to do. Just recorded a bunch yesterday, but I haven't recorded that one. I'll record that one this week. Is there a way to make a vertical nav mesh in Unreal? I've been looking at this for ages. No, not without a plugin. BOD, we currently have a task to make a shooting range. I've managed to make moving and randomly spawning targets, but what I'm struggling is make a reaction timer. How to make a timer that starts as target spawns and stops as target is destroyed, then add up to five targets, show the average reaction time into the player in widget UI. Okay, so that's quite a few things there. I haven't got the shooter template in here, but sounds like what you want to do is mostly going to be handled by the game mode. So we'll show you roughly what you got to do here. So you want it, make a timer, starts, target spawn, and stops as the target is destroyed. Then add up the 5 targets. Right. Okay, so we're going to do... so break it down into the different functions, events you need to have. Think about what you need to actually call. What are the events? What are the things that are going to trigger? And so we've got a custom event called spawn target. Okay, that's going to happen. This is going to spawn the actor target. Yeah, whatever that may be. You choose where it's going to spawn, obviously, what you're going to do. And then I'm going to take the return value here. Do I actually need a return value? We'll just do bind. Right, so then we bind event on the destroyed or hit, depending on what you want to do. Like if you want it just to like pop up and pop down, that's different. But we do act on hit, or destroy, hit, whatever you want to do. If it's spawn, you probably want to be destroyed, don't you? Bind on destroyed. There you go. And that will trigger a custom event. Target destroyed. So the target destroyed, we need a timer now being kept. So we're going to start a timer, and I'm going to start it before we do the spawn target here. So set timer by event. And we're going to set that to the lifespan of the, like, how long do you want to give it? So a really long number, like 60, for example. We'll promote that to a variable. And that'll be timer. Put that in there. And then it spawns the target. So the next bit is then when the target's destroyed is to take the timer. And we're going to get the elapsed seconds. So how long have it taken to do it, basically. And then we're going to add that to an array. I guess you want to get the 5 best times. So target times, we'll call this one. And that'd be an array, which we'll just get and add to it. Okay. And then we'll just call spawn target again. So spawn target. And that goes around the loop and does this again and again and again. We only want to do it 5 times, so when we go back to spawn target, we'll just do a check on the target times. Is the length of this it's less than 5, basically. Less than 5, because you said you only wanted 5 targets to be calculated. That's your condition. Remember what I've said in past? All your functions are kind of going to have like the starting part of the function, the condition, which is what this is, and then the rest of it. And this is generally how you go. So it's less than 5, carry on like normal. If it is false, it means that it is greater than 5, and therefore we want to end the thing up. So we're going to do a custom event on here. So end target range. And we just call end target range there. And it's here where you then add up all your target times. So you just for loop through each one of these and just add them all up. Promote that to a variable. Score, for example. And then add that back to its score. Yep, and then when it's finished, that's your score. That's what you've got. All 5 of them combined. Yeah, that'd be the way I'd do it. So, next question is Neo Masaki. In the FPS RPG, so the damage numbers always spawn off center of the damage actor's position. Is there a way to centralize it to them? Yeah, we'll do that in the next one of the next parts. You'll see probably part 11. I've recorded up to part 10 so far. So part 11 probably we can go through that. It's mostly down to how the widget's been aligned. So you can change how the alignment of the widget works, and also what value is it returning properly. We'll adjust all that in those parts there. Ben, is motion matching replacing the blend space stuff? No. Motion matching is just another more advanced animation system. They'll keep it the old blend stuff in there. That'll be not going anywhere anytime soon. You're welcome, BOD. Leroy, good to hear from you. We're doing AI for turn-based games. If a turn consists of multiple parts, i.e. movement and combat, would you resolve each as its own blackboard or part of a sequence? Yeah, so when it's turn-based, I'll try and separate it out as much as possible. So their movement turn is its own separate sequence or whatever. As much as I may even like do complete different behavior trees. I'd separate it out as much as possible. Do you know how I can replicate launch player in Blueprints? It takes the forward direction of the camera, and when I press Q, it launches the player, but when I test in multiplayer, it doesn't work. Yeah, so the reason why it doesn't work is because your Q button is tied to your client, not the server. So you can't do that. So what you got to do is this. So let's say we are going to push like a button. We'll do push the one key, for example. And I want to launch the character. And I say, oh, let's get actor, actor forward vector. We'll just do this. We'll multiply that by a float, and we'll do like 1,000 or something, and we'll add a bit of height to it. 500. There you go. Launch velocity. Okay, so the problem with multiplayer titles is that this is not going to happen in multiplayer because this is only happening on your machine because you're the one pushing the key. So this is what they're talking about for those who are curious. I'm going to change that to there and playtest that, and there we go. There we go. So client is up in top left here. This is the server. Not too bad there, but if we go back to this guy, you can see he's not going to work, okay? Because the server's kind of keeping him in the same spot. Because launch isn't a replicated function. So, what do? So, what you want to do is create a event. Ooh, custom event. Because as you saw, it works with the server, does it? So if we do this and do launch, just quick launch, we'll plug that into there, and we'll plug the launch velocity into there, and we'll tick override as well. And then when I push the button, I'm going to call the launch event, give it the trajectory from the player. So the player sends over the trajectory that we want to launch in. This launch then is going to be something that's run on the server. Now, it runs on the server just fine because the client owns this actor. It's their character. So we should see a bit of a difference now. So here's client 1 again. Hit 1. There you go. Okay. And server should work the same as well. Okay. Right. Something new. But yeah, there you go. Sina Vagifi. Can you give me an abstraction idea of how to do a Starfield shipbuilding editing system? Should I make a grid cell system? I guess. You got either a grid-based system or you got a socket-based system. I think they're using a sort of combination of both. But yeah, that'd be kind of what you're doing. Rusty, is it possible to dynamically change the values of the keys in a map? Yeah, you can just there's actually brings me to one of my favorite features of Unreal 5.4 as well. Yeah, so if you want to just change the value of a map, you just need to get hold of the map. Map example, we'll call it, and we'll just say this is a flow mapped with a string, for example. Yeah, you can put that in the code here and just say if there's an event or or function, we can do add, and this will replace the key and the value inside of the thing. So add replaces the value. I think that's what you're asking. Let's say it is pretty. Yeah, it works like just the same as you would think it would. Unless you mean dynamically a bit different than what I'm thinking, but yeah, it's just the same as that. But I say this brings me to one of my favourite features of Unreal 5.4. It's a dumb feature, but it's a godsend. Hopefully this works. I've read about it, so hopefully it does work. So I'm going to create a enum, and we'll say like equipment, for example. And this equipment here, we're going to have the different slots of the equipment. So you have like the head slot, shoulder, chest, and legs, for example. And let's say this is going to be our equipment system. So this I want to be the equipment enum. And the string is going to refer, or like, we'll do a name, it's more likely to be a name, will refer to a row in a data table, for example. Now, typically, and the problem that this had in the past, and fingers crossed this works, is that when you click the plus button, oh wait, I didn't compile it, whoops. Hit the plus button, it'll give you the first one, the head, okay, because it's the top in the list here. And the problem was, when you hit the plus button in Unreal 5.3 and below, it would give you an error because it can't add another one in the map of the same type, the same key. Because the default one is always going to be spawning in a default one. Now, apparently they fixed this, so it should auto select the next one in the enum list. Damn it, it don't work. I read that they did. Ah! Cannot add a new key to the map while a key with the same value exists. Oh, with the same value? No. I was promised big things. Disappointed. Maybe the next one. Maybe the next build. Maybe it's in GitHub for that. But that'll be the next big thing. And I'm waiting for that big feature. It'll save a lot of time. Sad times. But hopefully in the next version, in 0.1 version, they'll have that added in. Same for UE6, probably, yeah. Dead Pixel, any chance you may do content tutorials for new character mover 2.0 plugin for 5.4? Yeah, I guess. I mean, everything's on the table, so yeah. It's a matter of just learning under 5.4 stuff. Do you have a workaround for the map using enum? Yeah, so that problem, how you have to solve it is really annoying. Basically, when you add a new one to it, you have to select the last one in the list and work backwards. It's real dumb, real annoying. And that's why I can't wait for them to fix it. Yeah. You don't know why you should use enums with a map? Because enums are, maps are key value pairs, and keys have to be unique values. The value part, i.e. the name here, can be whatever you want, but the keys have to be unique. And an enum is just an easy way of keeping track of that stuff in a very easy to read method. So things like this, for equipment, for example, the leg slot of the equipment is now going to be this item. The chest slot is going to be this item. Shoulder slot is going to be this item, and so on. All in a very nice, tidy package. Yeah. You don't have to use enums, but it just makes things a lot easier to read. Cena, what is the best approach for flying AI navigation since NavMesh doesn't work and it is only 2D? I've tried to do something with line trace, but it works, but not always. Sadly, line tracing, or like tracing different types of tracing, is the only way I know how to do that. So, yeah. I think there are plugins that can do it, but for the most part, no, you're doing it old-fashioned style. Fang, would you make a tutorial videos on how to make a game like Ark or like Conan style survival? mean, we've got survival videos up that go over the basic stuff like that. The difference between that and what you see in another game like Ark and all that is just content. You're just making different things with that. Isn't there a new option for using nav mesh in 5.4? I don't know. I am not familiar with that. Oh, let me check release notes. Hold on. Oh. Close Slack. I mean, nav. There's a new modifier component. There's a spline nav modifier. Nice. Okay, we like the idea of a spline nav modifier. That is great for doing things like roads and things like that anyway. No, just that. Just general improvements for generation. I don't think there's anything. I don't see anything I've made. These are just mostly like just bug fixes for the existing stuff. Not anywhere else, is it? Don't see nothing about it. As far as I know, they changed it quite a bit for Lego Fortnite stuff. I mean, it'd be the first I've heard of it. I can take a look. But as far as I know, it just generates like normal. Looks no different to me. I don't see any other options. You can change the brush shape, but I don't see how that would make anything different. So that makes it a cylinder. But I don't think that... Yeah, see, I don't see where that comes in. No. Cone. Don't know why you'd ever want to change the shape of it. Display shaded volume. Yeah. That's just like rendering of it, of the brush. We just check the plugins, because the thing with these new versions you have to always check is that the plugins, because sometimes they have new stuff added, but they haven't really had it on. So here, Nav Corridor. No idea what this is. Version 0.1, I have no idea when it even came into the project. Experimental Navigation Corridor. I won't turn it on, because I dare not try it in case things break, but that's there. I don't know what it means, but it's there. how can I make a 3D menu in the world so when I click on something in the world, the camera will focus on it, and then when I click it with the mouse, I get a selection. Yeah, it's pretty simple. This is how you have to do menus for VR, because widgets don't work with VR stuff in this way. So yeah, you've got a few ways you can do it. So let's do a little folder for our 3D menu system. And in here, we're going to create a blueprint class actor, and we'll call it W3D button. Okay, and this chap here is going to have a box collision, and we'll just change the thickness of this and make it a bit easier to see. We could even change the color of it, make it even clearer what this thing is. There we go. And then I'm going to take the I'm going to keep it hidden in game. Yeah, that's what I want. And then I'm going to add some text to it, or you can add an image to it, decal, widget, whatever you want to do. I'm just going to add a text render. Good. Like that. And we'll just center align that. Like that. Okay, let me just take that off the box there so they're not attached like that. Okay, so the main thing is we want the box to be clickable. So to do that, we need our own player controller, because player controller that you get with your project when you first start up doesn't have it in there. So you need to go and create your own player controller, go into the blueprint class, BP, PC. And in here, you want to turn on enable click events and probably show mouse cursor as well. But what you'll notice is when you enable click events, it will open up the click event keys, telling you which key is going to do it. So if you want it to be a different button, you can make it do that. But more importantly, is a default click trace channel. It says visibility. This needs to be set on the things that you're going to click on to block visibility checks. So if I go to this box here and go down to its collision settings and change the custom, go to visibility and block visibility. You can also make your own custom trace channels, which probably may be better, but you want that to be the case for that. So when I click on this, I want the camera to focus on this thing. Okay, let's say this thing has a camera on it and I want to focus on that. We'll just add a camera. Something like this, okay? And we'll just drag that into our scene. Like that. Click on the box. Let's scale the box up a little bit. And the text, I'm going to make slightly bigger than the box. And change it to say play. Yeah, do that. And if you want to change the alignment of it, you can do. We'll just tweak that a little bit like that. Okay. And we'll just tell our game to use that player controller. Player controller, BPP, PC. And I'm going to tell our button here when it's clicked on. So there's a clicked event, act on clicked. This only fires when we've done the work in the player controller already. But when it's done this, we're going to set the view target to this. So get player controller, and then from there do set view target with blend. New view target itself, and we'll do a blend time of like 1 second, and on click, done. And now in my game world, if I let me just change this back to a single player and play it viewport. As you can see, the mouse cursor is now visible. If I click on this, the camera will go to this, and likewise you can do it with other buttons too. So let's say we took this out. And we'll say this one, its text is going to show text. It's going to be like options. And then we'll just reposition the cameras. Just realised I made them children, didn't I? That was dumb. There we go. There we go. And to make my life a little bit easier, can I not? I can't. That's fine. Well, I'll just move that around. Like that. Okay, so when I click on options, when I click on play, yeah, stuff like that. Red fog, yes. I see you stretch the box with the cursor. I was being told I should not do this. I shouldn't do this by the box extent values of the options available. Any thoughts on that? Yeah, you can ideally best to do it with that, but the only reason why it's a good idea to do it with that is because if anything's a child of this box, that will also be scaled by it. Whereas if you're using box extents, they don't affect the scaling of it, so it don't matter too much if they're not connected to anything. How to attach components between a different actor. Yeah, pretty simple. Oh, let's just... it's fine, we do it in here. Doesn't matter where we do it. Because the code's the same. So you have attach... actually, no, we'll do a player character. Attach component to... actor to component. So if you want to attach the actor to another component of a different actor, the parent actor could be anything. It doesn't have to be like one on here. It could be a reference from another actor, as long as you've got access to the parent component. And similarly, if you're going to attach component to component, right now it's going to give me the option for one of these because it needs a component, so it'll pick like mesh. But this, again, doesn't have to be. It can attach it to any other component, this way, that way, whatever I want. As long as it gets two components, you just need a reference to be whatever you want, however you want to get it, be it on a hit event, click event, whatever. As long as you've got a reference to it, you can daisy chain it to get the component you want. Did you show PCG? No, I haven't done PCG, no. We probably won't have time for PCG stuff, and I need to play with it myself more so. Is the stream going to be available to watch later on? Yes. M Gaming Studios, is it possible for you to do a recall system that you are done in MOBAs like in Paragon, where the player can click a key on the keyboard and the character returns to the base in 5 seconds? Yeah, the way this works is you have to store the locations of your character every so often, and then you lerp back towards them. Let's see if we can do a quick example in here. But basically, you're keeping a buffer system, essentially what you're doing. So we'll do, on begin play, we'll do a set timer by event. And the event is we'll store location. And we'll change this to be like every 0.5 seconds on a loop. Okay. So that will keep going around. And what we're going to do, we're going to get our actor to transform. So we get their rotation as well. Transform. And I'm going to store this in an array. Okay, so we'll just transform buffer. transform buffer. And what you're going to do this is you're going to make this an array first. Drag this out. And in here, you going to do insert, I believe it is. I believe you just do insert. I believe that pushes them all along. Put that in there. Insert it at 0. And then you take the transform buffer. Get the latest one. So get a copy of... Well, actually, is valid. Do is valid index. And let's say this whole thing's 0.5 seconds. So if we're going to go back 5 seconds, that's going to be 10. Okay, so if valid index here 9, which is the 10th index. Actually, no, we just put in 10 because that would be 10 by then. 10. We're going to take that and remove the last index. So remove index 10. Okay, so it should just keep up and up and up and up. We're then going to do a button push, so we'll just do 1. And we'll call the recall button. So we'll do a custom event for recall. And we'll call the recall button event there. So on recall, what you're going to do is we're going to get the transform buffer. And we're going to do... you don't do a for loop or for each loop or anything like that, because you want it to be sort of timed a little bit too. And you need it to be in a part of a tick event too, because you want it to be smooth probably, not teleporting. So when recall's happening, we're going to first of all gate and open that gate. Enter will be a tick. The transform buffer we're going to get is empty. And if it's not empty, then I want to lerp between the two transforms. So T interp 2? No. Interp, I don't think there is a transform one. T interp, oh there is, T interp 2. There you go. So the current one is our active transform. Actor transform. I'm going to current. The one we want to get though is going to get index 0. The reason why I'm getting index 0 and doing it that way round rather than adding on to the end of it is because index 0, when we remove index 0, it's all going to shift along. So we can use it as an easy way, like a conveyor belt, do a last in, first out sort of system. So we can put that in there. Delta time, we'll do delta world seconds. Interrupt speed here, we'll do 1. Something quite relatively slow. Might have to go slower than that. And we'll do set actor transform. Like that. Okay. So that's going to interrupt round. But when it gets to the time, we want it to remove that transform buffer. So we wanted to see if the location is close enough for the player to remove that first one. So we're going to get this, and we get break it first. Break. And we'll see if this location here, break. And we'll do is distance to vector is less than an error. This is your error range, so how accurate or inaccurate it will be. So we'll say 30, maybe less than that will do. And then we just take the transform buffer and remove the first index. Remove index 0. Now, I don't know if this would be the best way of doing it. I'm making this up as I go along, but this is the way I'm thinking. Okay, so I'm thinking that I'm going to have to recall, open the button, it'll do all that, is empty. Sorry, if empty is not true, false. There you go. It'll transform the player back, and remove the index. And then when it is empty, we're going to close the gate. So we can do a custom event in here called end recall. And we just do end recall and true there. And you probably want to disable input and enable input again. So disable input. Get player controller. And then re-enable input back on this. Enable input. Something like that, I reckon. Just do it. So run around a little bit and then push the 1 key. I think the lerp is a bit too slow. But get the idea. Right, let's speed up a little bit. Insert speed will change to 3. Oh, not 30, 3. So, as you can see, it has this little jolty action. That is because we're using interp 2. Interp 2 is a curve. There is one that is constant. So, if I do t interp 2 const? No. I don't know if they ain't got a constant version of it. Const. Hang on. Interp 2. R interp 2 constant. There you go. No, it's V interp 2 constant. Ah, damn it, we don't. God damn. Okay. Constant is, it'd be a constant rate. So if you don't care about the rotation of the character, we can just do it with that. That gets you that non-jolty movement. But let's speed up a little bit. Let's go now to 10. Let's see how it handles the jump as well. I'm not too sure how it will handle that. We might have to change the movement mode. Yeah, have to change movement mode. There you go. So, yeah, go onto recall. And we'll do set movement mode to flying. Ah. And then back to walking. Ooh. Right. So, yeah, if I went up like this, jumped off. There you go. Ta-da! That's not too bad for a first crack at it. Yeah, not too bad. I reckon you could, a bit more time, I could make that better. It'll do. So, yeah. How do you teleport to a main menu? Open level. Your main menu will be a different level, so you just do open level. Ron Zernert. Hey Ryan, how would you make fake light shafts? Want a retro look, ideally a fade toward a specific direction and along the edges of the shape. Something in Blueprint where you could what? Well, I think I know what you mean, like light shaft sort of thing. Yeah, it's done by materials, not done by much else than that. So a light shaft material is going to be translucent and it's going to be unlit. Okay, because it's light, you don't want light to have shadows. So you put that into emissive color, and we'll change that to a sort of light looking color. I may even boost that a bit and do 3. Emissive will knock down. These are new for Unreal 4, 5.4. 0.5. Okay. Maybe a bit lighter than that. 0.1. Yeah, okay. And to get softer edges around it, we can use a Fresnel node. So what the Fresnel node does, if I just put that into emissive color, you can see what it does. It kind of highlights edges of the objects. If I flip that, and then multiplied that by the opacity value I'm going to put in here. We put that in there, like that. And multiplied by 0.5, for example. 0.1. We get a fuzzier outline. And you can tweak this. I can't remember which way this goes now. Yeah. So you do things like that. You can also mess about the opacity in terms of distance to nearest surface. So distance nearest surface. We'll get absolute, well, not just world position. Yeah, absolute world position. And you'll say divide that by 50. Clamp between 0 and 1. And then multiply that by that. So what this does is this will look at how close it is to other objects and surfaces in the world, and it'll return a distance. So if the object's like that pixel's like 100 units away from that wall or surface, it'll return 100 for that pixel. The divide then obviously cuts it in, divides it by the amount. So if it is 100 units away, the answer here will be 2. But we'll clamp it between 0 and 1. So therefore the multiplier will be 1. Okay, so if it's 100 away, it'll be nice and sharp. But if it's like, if it's returning, it's divided by 50 like to 0.2, then 0.2, that multiplier is going to be even lower. So what you should see is the range of objects that when we put this on will sort of fade away. So let's add a shape to this thing. Let's do a cylinder. It's fairly light shafty. Do that and bring that in here. And you can kind of see how it sort of fades away near the bottom of the object. And we can do that a bit more. I'll change that to like 350. And we'll change exponent here as well down to 0.1. So it's really soft. And you get sort of fake light shafts. Obviously turn the collision off. Usually helps. Collision. No collision. So you can make little fake light shafts like that. Yeah. Is that kind of what the sort of style you're going for there, Ron? What are the use cases of a component renderer in Niagara? So rendering things like skeletal meshes, for example, you can do that in that stuff. If you want to do like cable components, I guess, I don't know, whatever you want really. It's a bit experimental, last I looked, but it kind of works. Yeah, sure, like shaft material. So I'll explain this a bit more. So this is obviously the color of it, how bright it is. Our Fresnel flipped is going to basically fade out the edges. So 0.1 here fades out this. So if I show you, actually, start previewing node. That's not going to work, is it? Because it's well, say 0.1 is going to fade it right down to there. You can see it's not that very clear, is it? It'll fade it right down, and basically keep it in the middle as like opposite. So if I do start preview node this one, there's a bit clearer video image of what you're going to see here. So you can see it's dark around the edges and then gets lighter towards the middle. Okay, and that means that the shape that we put it on is not going to it's going to cast correctly how we want it to. The multiplied by 0.1 fades it right down to near invisible. Okay, so it makes it darker. Because opacity, if black is 0, white is 1. And then we're multiplying it by this as well. So this is the other half of the equation. So this half is looking at the distance between this object and pixels of this object and the surface that they may be near. And when it's near a surface, we'll divide it by 350. So when the distance is 350 or less, the clamp here is going to be between 0 and 1. Anything more than that, it's going to be 1 and not be affected by it. But if it's less than that, we're going to diminish the fade of this even more with that value. And that gives us the opacity. And that is it. And it allows us to do things like fake light shafts. And as I say, it goes near objects. So if I move this over to these objects here, you can see how it adjusts and not like beams right through like that. Yeah. Ron, would there be a way to put material on that blueprint that would allow you to change the start and end point with that? Yeah, you can make the values here variable if you want. Or this is, as I say, just a mesh. You can just change the size of the mesh. But if you want to animate the material, you totally can do that. So let's say, for example, this divide here is promoted to a parameter. Distance fade. Okay. And let's say, I'll just do it on the level sequence so you can see it a bit clearer. Hold on, let's change that default there to 350. So let's say I want to put this on the animation on a level sequence. Okay, so I'm going to add that light shaft to our track here. And I want to add its material. So on the cylinder, I'm going to go down to get the static mesh component. And then from there, I'm going to get the material slot, default material. And then from that, I can get my distance fade, the variable I just added onto it. So this is how you animate your own parameters on the material. So with that on there now, I can drag that across and we can make that go up. Oh, not that high. Let's try 1000. There you go. So you should see the beam of light get stronger and weaker because it's getting closer to the objects. And you can do it with any parameter, by the way, not just what I just. You can add as many you want here. Okay. And that's just checking like the distance. So it's going to give us a nice fade towards the floor there. But yeah, you can do whatever you want with that. Is there a way to send HTTP requests from Blueprint? Not without a plugin. Unless they added it in Unreal 5.4. Let's check. I don't think they have. But there's a plugin you can get. I think there's a free plugin you can use. I can't remember now. HTTP. No. You have to do plugin. or through the source code, obviously. You have reached the 100,000 subscribers. I know, it's great. And I've got now the verified tick next to my name, and I've got a plaque on its way. I can't wait to get that and put it up there. I think I'll put it there. I'll definitely do a video of that. Yeah, it's awesome. So I want to once again say thank you to everyone. We've got a couple of special videos coming out relatively soon, which is basically taking the very first video tutorials I did for the channel, which was a doors system, and basically revamped it for the modern day in Unreal 5, and said, like, here's a better way of doing it. It's basically coming full circle of, like, here's where we started, and this is where we are now. So look out for those. They're coming very soon. Patreon the next day or two. How are we doing for time? We'll do a little bit more. Yeah, the good old doors videos, yeah. How do you do double jump into flying? Good question. Let's figure it out together. So as you may notice, like, I don't know the answer, like, exactly how to do most of this stuff. I'm gonna have to figure it out live. But what I'm hoping is that you see how I'm doing it live as well. So I know that I can enable double jump quite easily by going to class defaults and do jump. And here you'll see jump max count down here. I can change that to 2. So now I can double jump. Right. So now I've got that. I need to know how many times I have jumped. So if that's there, chances are there's a variable which tracks how many times we've jumped. So if I type in the word jump, we can have a look around. There you go, get jump count. Do that. And let's actually increase that to 3. Jump and change it to 3. Because what I'm going to do is do a thing on here. If this is less than 3, we're going to make it fly. So jump, otherwise false. And to fly, we're just going to set the movement mode to flying. Set movement mode to flying for now. Obviously, I'm not going to do a full flying system. We ain't got time for that. But yeah, we'll do that. And yeah, let's take a look at if that works. So, what? Why is it not going? Oh, sorry, I've got a way around. Whoops. Ah, there you go. My bad. Jump. So, single jump, double jump, and if I want to do double jump into flying, oh, I got hit. There you go. I'm now flying. Obviously, we've still got recall going on. It doesn't work too well in 3D space by the looks of it, but yep, it's there. But yeah. A 3D transform the shape of the material is applied to. I pictured 2 points I can move, scale independently, and the light shaft material connects them. It would have to be a mesh, because the material has to be applied to a mesh. So if you can do it with a mesh, yeah, you can do that. And you can even use the rigging tools if you want to apply that to a mesh even, because we've got the new rigging tools now, so we can even do that. So let's do an advanced version of what you're talking about there. So we have modeling, box, and we'll just change the height of it a little bit. I'm then going to go to the go down here, convert that to a skeletal mesh. No, what have they done with it? So mesh actions. So what else here? Unless it's a plugin I didn't enable. Skeleton. Ah, I didn't. Yeah, need this. I won't do it now because we have to restart the engine. But we could rig it and we can make the bones then deform the shape a lot better. Kozaki77, your post on Patreon, on the Discord channel there. Inclusion marks fill up the occluded part. Have you tried nabbing two-sided materials for the house? Based upon the image you posted? Try doing that. Hey Ryan, do you have a new favourite feature in 5.4? I haven't played around with it too much yet, but I did enjoy the modular control rig when I first got my hands on it in the preview. Let me do a quick test to see if they fixed something in here. So I've got in this ghoul character. We're going to create an animation control rig, which is modular control rig, and we'll see how easy it is to put up together. One of these. So you do that, you choose the mesh you want to use. There's the ghoul. There we are. I chose him because he doesn't have a standard skeleton, I don't think. Oh, he does. Yeah, it's pretty close. It'll do. Yeah, so you start off with a single socket point. Okay, so here we're going to drag in. I hate looking at it like this. I prefer using the tiles, personally. Anyway, so yeah, so we've got spine. We can just drag that in there. There we go. We'll put in the arm. Oh wait, now it's shoulder. Whoops, my bad. Shoulder goes in that one. Shoulder into that one. Yeah. Yeah, see, this is where it's broken. It messed up. So the problem it had in the preview, it still seems to be a problem, is if you are if you undo anything, it loses track of what you were doing. Can I just disconnect? Yeah, he hasn't done it. This was a problem it had. Because you see all the rings have gone down to the bottom here. This is a problem in preview 1. If you make a mistake, you have to basically restart the whole entire thing again. At least that's what I could see. It was a pain in the butt. Like, you just couldn't fix the spine. It broke the spine. It broke everything. As soon as you detach something or disconnected it, it doesn't like it. So that was a problem we saw with that. Yeah, it's annoying. Oh, I'm really hoping they fixed it by now. But I guess not. And so the IK stuff, you have to enable down here. Pole vector? So it's really got pole vector. It's probably because of all this crap that's broken. Yeah, it's bollocks. So if you want to mess about with it, fix it, I have to do it again. Like, this was a problem I had with preview 1. How to do that. Go again. Animation, control rig, modular control rig, create. I'm going to choose our dude. And try not to mess it up this time. Spine. Yeah, it doesn't remember your options here too. This is why I'm shocked it came out, because this is still quite broken. But for now, do shoulder. Yeah, see, it didn't. See, last time it didn't generate this. It didn't know what to do with it. So here you're expecting the arm module to go in, like that, and then we do the other shoulder. Yeah. Another problem this had as well is when you clicked on this, you can't click on anything. Like if you click outside here, you'd expect it to deselect out of it, but you can't. You have to click on that. So weird UI problem. And then if I clicked on this one would open as well, but I can't. I think I'll accidentally open up loads of them. It should open, close, the others. Like you only got one open at a time. It should, but it don't, which is really frustrating. But yeah, so I'm going to go to the arm here, FK default, and now I can go to this bone. Oh, compile that, and we should be able to control rig. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, annoyingly those bugs still there. Shame. Because yeah, again, like I'll show you if I disconnect this bit here. Yeah. Disconnect that. And then disconnect that. And let's say I put in the leg by accident here. And then, oh no, I want to put in the shoulder right instead. It's going, yeah, this one. Disconnect there. Oh, now it's not working. Now it's working fine. Doesn't do it, but whatever. Whatever. It was doing it broken wires later, but yeah, need to play with it a bit more. Yes, Red Fog, you can edit the skin weights in here now too, with that plugin enabled. Okay, we're gonna have to end it there, unfortunately, everyone. Oh yeah, sorry, I will be at WASD this week on tomorrow. In fact, tomorrow's Thursday, isn't it? So I'll be at WASD. So if you're at WASD and you see me walking around, feel free to say hi. It's totally okay. But thank you very much, everyone, for your questions today. Once again, thank you for subscribing to the channel and watching all of my content, and thank you for getting me to 100,000 subscribers. This is just the beginning. We've got plenty more planned. Mimic is coming along really nicely. We're looking for more testers soon, so keep an eye out for more opportunities for that. But if you want to support the channel and support Mimic's development, head over to patreon.com/Ryan Laley, where you can donate just $1 and get access to all of our stuff early before anyone else. So thank you again for watching. Thanks for tuning in live, and I'll see you all next time. Bye, everyone.